Hey everybody. So, I don't know how long I can talk, but I thought I'd jump on here since I've really never introduced myself. My name's Camee, and I'm part of obviously Share the Hope Photos. So, just so you guys know, my family, specifically my mother, has another channel where even she's editing, she's putting content out there. It is Share the Hope Photos underscore F as in Frank, S as in Sam, S as in Sam, C as in Cammy. But basically, we started these channels for various reasons. I've been a photographer forever and I've had YouTube, and I'm like, oh, I need to share my story because I have a lot to say in my many years. Basically, okay, let's just start with a fun one. When I was young, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Type 1. I'm so sorry. I'm very tired, 2 hours of sleep. But I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes and kind of had to figure out life. My parents led a great way, told me what to eat, not to eat. I was taught how to give my own shots. Then over the years, I got the pump. It's hard to get that CGM, the continuing glucose monitor. Those are pricey, and insurance doesn't normally cover them up front unless you have some great plan, which there are great plans out there. But basically, I had to figure things out from start to finish. And when I was young, I was in middle school. So, I guess I don't know every state, but there's proficiency tests that are done, or at least used to be done where I'm from. And I got through grade 7, and I was in grade 8 where the next proficiency test was going to happen. And I had issues with the diabetes. So I performed well in most states when it wasn't pressurized. But I had basically, what is that? What do people call it now? Like kind of like a stress anxiety or a test anxiety. That's it. Test anxiety. Where when tests came up, I put a lot of pressure on myself, so my blood sugars would drop. Or vice versa, I would overtreat it and it'd go way high. And when that happened, I had to figure things out. And luckily, there was a guidance counselor, I can't talk. Okay, reset. Guidance counselor that approached my mom and said, hey, have you heard of a 504? Well, 504, and this is just my knowledge, my background. So 504 is often compared to an IEP. IEP, and neither one is, nobody should be ashamed of either. IEP is more for like a learning disability, dyslexia, something that switches the words around, takes you a moment longer to read it. There's a long, long line of what could be included. And my understanding is a 504 is more for people like myself that has either like a physical disability or a medical disability, which diabetes is considered one. But when I was in 8th grade, I got signed up for this 504, and it changed the world because it started me in a way where when I was stressed for the test, I didn't have to take the test. I still took the test, but I didn't have to until I was okay. It could be later that day. It could have been changed into another form, such as research projects or, things that I could do that showed I was just as capable. And hey, everybody, love you too. But basically, I got into college, and this is what I was dying to share with people, especially since I've never heard anyone else do what I did. And hey, everybody. I think you guys would appreciate what I did in college because this might lead you into a greater path. And don't get me wrong, some professors might not like this sharing, but I'm about to tell you. When I was in college, freshman year, brave enough to do this, walking into the university, and I went up to a professor, my first one, and said that, hey, I'm not ashamed of diabetes. I know people out there don't want to share what's wrong with them, and I completely understand. It is who I am. No matter what people think, say, do, it's still here. It's not going away. But I go up to the professor and say, hey, I have this disability, or I don't think I said disability. I think I said a medical situation. And I explained diabetes and what it did to me. So I said, hey, it made my sugars drop, which is not when you are able to see me at my best. Hey, everybody. Love you all. Thank you for joining. But with you not able to see me at my best, what I wanted is to show I'm just as capable. I won't lie. I graduated high school with almost a 4.0 GPA. I've got this. And there's people that don't, and I get it. But that's why you approach your professor and talk. Just have a conversation. And when I had that conversation, I explained to them what I thought would be right. Because who hasn't heard that thing? You won't have a calculator out in the world when you graduate school. Guess what? If you're watching this, I am doing this on a cell phone. And I don't know if you know. I'm sure you do. I don't want to make that sound wrong. You have a calculator everywhere you go. So I approached that with the teachers, and I'm like, hey guys, so just so you know, I'm going to be a diabetic out in this world. And I'm going to be able to look up answers. I'm going to be able to research when needed. I am going to have to perform with diabetes in the real world, but not on the pressurized, 1 hour that you have to take this test. And they're like, that's true. So what do you suggest? And I'm like, what about alternative testing? So alternative testing could have been, now keep in mind, college is a little different than high school. I'm not sure if this will work in high school and middle school, and I'm sure it won't in elementary, but you get to start guiding your way through that. But I'm like, I could do a huge research paper. You could do a take-home test. You can do, which is harder, Trust me, take-home tests, after my experience, is not like the answers you learned in class at all. And I'm like, okay, so what do you think? Can you do this? So I would say about 50% of the professors agreed. Ended up, thank you, vice principal. I wish I was a vice principal. I could teach you guys how to learn and use a disability to your advantage and your classmates' advantage. But what I was saying is 50% of the people that agreed to this alternative testing ended up doing it for my whole class. Like, my entire class got to have it. My entire class loved it. They didn't know what I did. I just got to hear the conversations of, we have no tests, like, we don't have to do that. And I'm just smiling like, no, you don't. So I made an impact, hopefully in a good way there. But it's not like we didn't have to perform. We still had to show we knew the material, we could reproduce the material, we can explain it to each other. Presentations were a big thing. I had to present, these huge reports or whatever it may be, research projects. I had tests harder than most because, again, I'm asking for alternative testing, but I still wanted to show I am here for a reason. And so that's kind of part of how I got through college. There were professors that absolutely disagreed with it, said absolutely not. However, here's where the 504 finally had to take place, because all of what I did didn't have to be part of the 504. 504, though, did say you had to give me extended time, alternative place to do the testing, or alternative time to do the testing. And so those professors basically had to accommodate that. So in some cases, they would, again, accommodate the whole class with what they're needing, and things just went from there. If you guys ever have questions or want to know more about disabilities, what your rights are, I don't know everything altogether, because believe it or not, I was the second diabetic to go through my school district, known diabetic. The one prior to me was about 30 years prior. So I know a bit how to form a school district, help a school district learn what they need to know and what they need to do. But you ever have questions, comment. I think this leaves a mark, I'm not sure, or like a video. If not, I'll make sure one's uploaded. But I will get you information, and hope you have a great day. I hope you like the content. I love just making people smile. My mom loves making people smile. But again, please follow her in her journey. And she has a much more extensive story than I have here. It's Share the Hope. So SHERTHEHOPE_FSSC. Hope you have a great day, everybody. Take care.